The first time Daniel Miller lost a minute of his life, he thought it was his imagination. He was 21, a college junior in Boston, known among his friends as the guy who was always late. His professors joked about his constant excuses, his mother worried about his future, and his cousin Sarah had once called him the king of tomorrow. Daniel laughed it off, but deep down, he knew she was right. He lived his life on delay. Later was his favorite word. That morning began like so many others. His alarm rang at 7:30 a.m., buzzing against the nightstand, and Daniel rolled over, groaning. His economics class started at 9, but he didn't move. He stared at the ceiling, then whispered to himself, "I'll get up in 5 minutes." When he finally dragged himself upright, he blinked at the wall clock. It was 8:15. He frowned. Weird. I swear it was just 8:14. He shrugged, grabbed his phone, and started scrolling through TikTok, thinking he had time. 5 minutes later, when the thought of getting dressed crossed his mind, he muttered, "I'll do it later." He glanced up, 8:25. His stomach flipped. Hadn't it just been 8:23? He rubbed his eyes, blaming lack of sleep. But as he stood in the bathroom brushing his teeth, his watch ticked strangely. He caught the second-hand stutter, then lurched forward. He whispered the word without meaning to, "Later," and the watch jumped again, a full minute disappearing in an instant. Daniel froze, toothbrush hanging in his mouth. No way, no freaking way. He stared at the watch like it had betrayed him. But when he blinked, it ticked normally again. His hands trembled. "I'm just tired. That's all. Too much caffeine yesterday." At lunch, he told his best friend Marcus. They'd been inseparable since freshman year, always sharing dumb theories and midnight pizza. Marcus laughed when Daniel explained what had happened. "So, let me get this straight. You say later and time skips? That's either the worst superpower in history, or you're seriously stressed out." But Daniel's throat was dry. "I'm serious. Watch." He pulled out his Apple Watch, staring at the digital numbers. He opened his notebook, groaned, and muttered, "I'll finish homework later." The digits on his watch blinked. 3:12 became 3:13 in a blink. No ticking, no transition. Just gone. Marcus's grin vanished. "What the hell? I saw that." "Exactly," Daniel whispered, leaning closer. His pulse raced. "It's not just me. You saw it too." Marcus stared at him for a long moment, then said slowly, "Dan, if that's real, you're not just wasting time. You're losing it. Literally." Daniel felt his stomach twist. His friend's words hit harder than any professor's lecture. Losing it. Minutes of his life, stolen by 2 stupid words. That night, Daniel couldn't shake the fear. He lay in his dorm room, lights off, phone buzzing beside him. Friends had texted about a party across campus. Normally, he would have gone. Normally, he would have told himself, "I'll study tomorrow." But now, the word burned in his throat. He stared at the wall clock. Its second hand moved normally, tick, tick, tick. Still, each sound echoed like a hammer in his skull. He thought about every moment he had wasted, the skipped lectures, the assignments turned in late, the countless nights lost to YouTube spirals. If minutes were vanishing every time he said, "Later," how much of his life had already been erased? His chest tightened. He couldn't breathe. Then, the voice came. It wasn't Marcus. It wasn't his own. It was low, steady, and chilling, like someone whispering directly into his brain. "Every later is a piece of your soul. Every tomorrow steals today. How many minutes will you throw away before nothing is left?" Daniel bolted upright, heart pounding. "Who's there?" His voice cracked. No answer. Just the ticking. Louder now, faster, like the clock was mocking him. He ripped the clock from the wall and hurled it to the floor. Glass shattered across the hardwood, but the sound didn't stop. Tick. 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 Louder. Faster. Almost laughing. Daniel clamped his hands over his ears, eyes wide, sweat dripping down his temple. "Stop!" Please, just stop. But the ticking wouldn't stop. And deep inside, he knew the truth. The clock wasn't broken. His life was. For the first time, Daniel realized procrastination wasn't just killing his dreams. It was erasing his life. Daniel didn't sleep that night. Every time he closed his eyes, he heard the ticking, louder, faster, crawling under his skin like an infection. By morning, his dorm room felt like a coffin. The broken clock still lay on the floor, its glass scattered like ice. But even without hands, without numbers, it ticked on. He stumbled to class, dark circles under his eyes, and slumped into the back row. The professor's voice was distant, muffled, drowned out by the whisper in his head, "Every later is a piece of your soul." He tried to take notes, but his pen shook. The clock on the wall seemed to watch him, daring him. After class, Marcus caught up to him. "You look like hell." Daniel tried to laugh, but it came out broken. "Marcus, what if this doesn't stop? What if one day I say later and it skips not a minute, but an hour? Or a day? Or a year?" His eyes burned with panic. "What if one morning I wake up and my whole life is gone?" Marcus put a hand on his shoulder, firm. "Then stop saying it." Simple. Too simple. But Daniel knew it was the only answer. That night was his test. Finals week had arrived, and his dorm was chaos. Students shouting in hallways, music blasting, doors slamming. His phone buzzed with notifications, party invites, memes, reminders. He sat at his desk, economics textbook open, pen ready. The clock ticked. His eyes grew heavy. His hand twitched toward his phone. A group text flashed. "Come on, bro, just 1 hour. You deserve a break." 1 hour. He almost whispered the word. Almost. His lips parted, but then, he saw it. The future. Not in detail, but in flashes, skipped exams, failed classes, wasted years, his mother's disappointed voice, Sarah's proud face turning away. A prison made of some days. The clock ticked louder, daring him to surrender. His hand shook, sweat dripping onto the open page. "No," he whispered. His voice cracked but grew stronger. "Not later. Now." He shoved the phone into his desk drawer, slammed it shut, and forced his eyes onto the textbook. The ticking slowed. For the first time in days, the silence was louder than the clock. Hours passed. The exam came. Daniel walked into the lecture hall with his chest tight but steady. For once, he hadn't drowned in excuses. For once, he had chosen now. He sat, flipped the paper over, and began writing. The questions were hard, but his mind was sharp, focused. The clock above the board ticked like always, but this time it didn't mock him. It simply kept time. When the professor called, "Pencils down," Daniel leaned back, exhausted but alive. A week later, when results were posted, Daniel stood frozen in the hallway, staring at his grade. An A. His first real A in months. His throat tightened. Tears stung his eyes. Marcus grinned, clapping him on the back. "See? Time didn't beat you. You beat it." But Daniel shook his head slowly, smiling through tears. "No, man. I finally stopped beating myself." That night, back in his room, he found the broken clock lying silently on the floor. The ticking was gone. Completely gone. He picked it up, the glass still cracked, and placed it on his desk. For the first time in his life, the silence felt like freedom. Because Daniel Miller had finally learned the truth. Discipline isn't about controlling time, it's about controlling yourself.